What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video here. So as you guys know, Rise of Kingdoms had its 6th year anniversary, right? So it's really an interesting thing because we've played this game for a good amount of time, a long time, honestly. But, I've tried other SLG games as well, such as Age of Empires Mobile. I've checked it out. It's really different and there's really nothing to compare it with Rise of Kingdoms. UI is a big thing for me. I think a lot of the games do try to mimic the game, but I think Rise of Kingdoms is still superior to its competitors in the market. So in today's video, what we're gonna do is we're gonna compare Rise of Kingdoms and as well as Age of Empires side to side in here. And yeah, I really think it's important to do this comparison because this is both similar games. With these two games being a civilization-based game, I think it's really important that they go head-to-head in this comparison. I believe that Rise of Kingdoms is still the top-grossing SLG game in the market as well. So we're going to look into two of these games, Civilization for both of them. And I want to highlight this real quick, is that Rise of Kingdoms first to the market into the mobile, and now a copy comes out, another Civilization game comes out. Now let's talk about the movements here in the game in Rise of Kingdoms. As you can see, you can actually just move like this, the click and drag. When I first started in the game, you can't do click and drag. They've really done a lot of improvement. So you can click and drag, you can farm, click there, then you get it. You can also send resources to your allies as well in the game. But when we go into Age of Empires in here, all right, so here we go, back at Age of Empires. All right, so now we got to send a march, hold that out, send a march in here. Okay, I don't even like the UI here like this. All right, there's no stamina to send a march, and you do click and drag, right? And where's the resources? There's the resources. You can click and drag towards to the resources. Did I even go gather? And you cannot send resources to your teammate here in this game. In Rise of Kingdoms, you can send resources, so that's a huge difference as well. All right, so you can see, am I gathering yet? I just went in there. It didn't gather. What do I have to do to gather? I have to actually click it. I can't just click and drag it. See, look, there's nothing. I'm going all over it. There's nothing. Wow. UI, that is clunky. I want to say clunky is the right word, probably. So user interface is definitely a big thing in here for me. All right, so to kind of touch back in here, as you can see here in Rise of Kingdoms, you can actually send resources to your teammate, which a huge difference between Rise of Kingdoms as well as Age of Empires is that you cannot send resources in Age of Empires, which is a vital aspect for growth of free-to-play in the game. Now let's take a look into the buildings in Age of Empires. So as you can see, their buildings in here are pretty fixed already. I don't think I can move this, can I? Yeah, they're pretty fixed. I think some of those buildings can be moved. Like this one, you can move it, as you can see. And that's how you're going to be able to move it. But some of the there is not a lot of freedom in the game in here with Age of Empires. So let's go back in Rise of Kingdoms. So going back in Rise of Kingdoms, they actually have a city editor. So you can go and edit the city. And as you can see here, you can even see other governors' cities as well and how they have designed it. Wow. But you can see how you can be more creative with Rise of Kingdoms as well. And, honestly, I got to give the credit to Rise of Kingdoms for being its own creativeness in here as well. And, we have to admit it. Games are copying Rise of Kingdoms. And, in all honesty in here, when we search, when I create videos and I search for tags, there is now a tag for game like Rise of Kingdoms. And, at the end of the day, we have to pretty much give out the truth that Rise of Kingdoms have really pioneered this style of gaming in this age that we're playing at. So Rise of Kingdoms have tremendous influence to the succeeding games in the market here today. So another thing that I want to highlight in here is that, not just that the graphics, the design is so neat and much easier. One more thing is that Age of Empires is really far out from this because Rise of Kingdoms have done a lot of collaborative works already and have done a lot of events, like real life events as well. So I think with community building, I think what Rise of Kingdoms have done is big. And there's been meetups already with Rise of Kingdoms. And I think that's one of the cool thing what the game have done with reaching out to the community. So pretty much the work that they have done with the community is pretty much what really kind of kept this game alive for, 6 years. That's huge. So let's take a look in here with the civilization that Rise of Kingdoms have. I believe it has 14 civilizations now. I believe when I first started in here, we didn't have like Greece, we didn't have Viking, we didn't have Egypt. I think we didn't even have Ottoman Empire when I first started into the game. You can see how far it was when I first started. Oh, I also didn't have, I think Byzantium was also new when I first started, and it was released throughout the progress of time. So Rise of Kingdoms is a civilization game. So I think a lot of people really connected with the game because it's a civilization game, and a lot of people kind of associate themselves in deciding of what civilization they want to be. And I think that's what really drawn people into Rise of Kingdoms. For 6 years, they've done a tremendous, amazing job, and I really want to highlight their UI because, oh my god, the UI of Rise of Kingdoms is far superior than most of the new games that are coming out. Unless they copy it exactly the same, then of course it is going to be pretty much nice. But I want to show you real quick in here. This is Age of Empires. I want you guys to see how big of a difference the UI is. When I first got into the game in Age of Empires, I was already kind of taken back because of its user interface or UI. I didn't like it. It seems to be kind of way back, another, like, I don't know, you have to go back pretty old SLG in here. You see we have to go through a loading screen. I don't think we went through a loading screen, or I don't think we go through a loading screen in Rise of Kingdoms. Let's quickly check that. If I go back in, there's no loading screen. Go back out, no loading screen. So going back here again in Age of Empires, let's take a look into civilizations in here. So in Age of Empires, we have French, Byzantine, Romans, British, Egyptian, Japanese, Korean. That's not a lot, right? It's not a lot of civilization right now. But Age of Empires is known for its, the predecessor's game. And as they go into mobile, I even seen some, Apple reviews for Age of Empires, absolutely insane. So I want to look back in here in Age of Empires mobile here in the Apple Store. As you can see, there is a tremendous balance here. You can see from 5-star and 1-star, all right? And when I was looking at these as well, there was a surge of 5-star, and there was not a lot of comment review as well. But you guys can look more into this, but you can definitely see that there is a polarity between the 5-star and as well as the 1-star reviews in here. They've managed it to get to 3.3 star already. On the first day, I believe it was like around 1 point something star in Apple Store. So that's one thing that I want to highlight there as well. Now, let's talk about the heroes of the game. And again, going back at this, I don't like the UI. I've made a video about this before. The UI is so like, just looking at the city in here. I mean, it's not looking the way that is in my preference in here. Maybe some people like this preference, but really not for me. So here's the heroes in here. I feel like even looking in the UI and the heroes is already complicated in comparison to Rise of Kingdoms. So these are all the heroes that they got. There's a lot of heroes already on its global launch. In Rise of Kingdoms, if I remember, when I first started, there wasn't a lot of heroes right away. They slowly introduced it as well. I'm comparing these two because these are the one that needs to be compared. Rise of Kingdoms and Age of Empires Mobile. They're both civilization game. This is the best comparison you can do to each other for SLG game. Now, as you can see, the hero, I would say it looks more realistic. I would say that. But when we look into the UI and how friendly it is, I think it's not like appealing. It's not like, oh, I understand it right away. It is a bit more challenging to kind of understand this. So if I go into talent, this is the talent tree that they've done. All right, it goes all the way down in here. And then when we go into skills, let's go into skills in here. Right, this is the rage cost 200, deal might damage to the target, and then kind of give you a little bit of information in here. And then you can see here as well, and I believe they even sell this skill points as well. You can buy them through the shop in here as well. If I remember this correctly, you go here into the shop, you go to regular supplies, or is it the daily supplies? I don't even understand where you're gonna look for all these supplies in here. I think it's in the regular supply. Nope, not that one. Not in the limited bounty, not in the kingdom horde, not in the daily. Where did it go? Wow, I can't believe it. They have so much bundles. I can't believe it. All right, so the value pack, that's where it is. Wow, I can't believe it. There's so much bundles in here. So here they have hero, and I see there's a legendary scroll, daily discounts. You see the skill points in here. You can buy it. That's something that is kind of scary to me, in my opinion. That's one thing that I gotta give credit to Rise of Kingdoms. You can't just buy the heroes in the game. So we go back in here in the Rise of Kingdoms. We'll go into the bundles in here. Should be the super value bundle. So this is the bundles. All right. You can't just buy the heroes, just like how the game is in Age of Empires. There's no you can't just buy the skills basically. So that's one thing that I want to highlight there. And when we go into the hero panels in here, I think the UI is just so much easier. It's a lot cleaner, right? Isn't it? It's a lot cleaner. I've got max heroes in here. You can see Yi Song-ye, right? You see right away. You see the skills, just like that. It's so easy. It's so user-friendly. And that's one thing that I want to highlight. And really, ROK, Rockers, or whatever, really get the credit for this one. And then here's what you get to see if you go into talents, right? We looked into the talents of Age of Empires Mobile as well. So you can see the talents of Rise of Kingdoms. It's relatively easy. It's just so simple. One page, you get to see everything. I know other games have also copied the way Rise of Kingdoms have done this. I believe they are the pioneer of this format. But you can see how Age of Empires changed their formats, but they change it to be more clunky. I don't like it really. I think this is just a lot more easier to look at. One page, you get to see everything. So really for Rise of Kingdoms, it's more simple. I would say that's the right word. And then for Age of Empires Mobile, complicated. I want to say it's not easy to be Rise of Kingdoms because Rise of Kingdoms has definitely done a lot throughout the 6 years here. It's not going to be easy to be successful as Rise of Kingdoms, especially if you're having that type of UI. I don't think so. I think that type of UI has to go for someone who is so different, I think. For me, I like the game a lot easier, and I like the game to be more appealing, and I like it more simpler. And I think Rise of Kingdoms cater to that. And I would say Rise of Kingdoms would probably cater towards to a larger audience because of its interface in the game. I've talked about user interface a lot in here because it is so important here in the game. When you're gonna play a mobile game, I think it needs to be appealing and it should be easy to get with. When we look into this, let's see. All right, I'm gonna look at, that's a crown. I assume that's going to be for the rankings in here. This is the milestone progression. I still couldn't figure out where the kingdom rankings is, honestly. I like that it says here the server is right here, but really I couldn't tell where is the global ranking of the game. Very confusing. And let's see, they got a calendar. All right, return login, legendary, advert. I even heard that this is quite extensive when you have to do some spins in here. And yeah, I don't even know where the rankings would be in here. Is it in the alliance? I don't even know. So let's take a look in here a little bit on the UI. I mean, I'll click this gear. All right, alliance announcements and other alliances. Okay, I think the alliance tab is a lot more clunky as well. I mean, let's take a look, a quick comparison here. This is the alliance tab of Rise of Kingdoms. It's a lot simpler in here, as you can see. Very simple, very easy to look at. You see war, holy sites, territory, help, storehouse, technology, gifts, and shop. When we look in here, right, it's right here. You get a Discord, treasury, warehouse, gifts, assistant. There's so much more in here, so much clutter, in my opinion. The UI, that's really big for me. Now, one of the things that I think why Rise of Kingdoms also has been very successful is through the releases of their civilization, the releases of their heroes as well. There's a lot of heroes now in Rise of Kingdoms, but they've really researched, and I've always said this, they do their research and they do know what type of heroes or commanders to bring in that the players will actually like. So I think one time I criticized one of their heroes in here, which is Lapu-Lapu, which is for the Philippines, right? And they quickly made an adjustment as well as they, receive criticism about it. So I don't even know. There we go. There's Lapu Lapu. You know, before the design was different, and they've adjusted that as well and made it a lot better now. So there was some response. So it's really nice that they were able to make adjustments right away as well. So they do listen to the player base as well. So here's my conclusion here. Age of Empires, Rise of Kingdoms, and I also played like Era of Conquest. Era of Conquest, I didn't like it as much. I liked it in the beginning, but then the UI was also difficult. I made a video recently. I said Age of Empires is a lot more like kind of Era of Conquest. Their UI is kind of similar, but they're trying to copy Rise of Kingdoms, yet they tried to differentiate with Rise of Kingdoms as well with their UI, because Rise of Kingdoms UI is simple and easy. And the thing that they've kind of copy is the free movement style, the battle, the rally, and those kind of approaches with Rise of Kingdom. But the thing is, their UI is clunky and it's really difficult. And I don't know how well it's received. I think for me, it's just the name that why people like trying it out. But if realistically, I've even said this in my previous video, I would rather go play Rise of Kingdoms than go play Age of Empires Mobile, because the UI is just so difficult and not that easy to look at. It's unappealing in my opinion. Maybe it's appealing for some people, but to me, it's really not that appealing in my opinion. And, you know, I've said that before as well. You can see the graphics of Rise of Kingdoms, a lot more appealing in my opinion. The cities, the movements, and the barbarians in here as well. And those kind of things that, you know, why I played Rise of Kingdoms for 6 years as well. So we had to make this comparison because of Rise of Kingdoms and Age of Empires are both very similar to each other and almost identical with just some of the UI. So they're both civilization game, both catering to that same market of civilization-based players. I would say, to end this, conclusion-wise, Rise of Kingdoms is definitely far more superior than Age of Empires Mobile. And I don't think Age of Empires Mobile can catch up to the growth of Rise of Kingdoms, because Rise of Kingdoms have done so much already in the span of 6 years, and then they keep on growing as well. So I don't think there's anything really stopping Rise of Kingdoms at the end of the day, but that's just my own opinion in here. Let me know what you think.